Hello, I'm Amanda Worley and this is my learning project. I chose to do Collaborative Note-Taking, the Impact of Cloud Computing on Classroom Performance by Harold N. Ornduff. First, I want to talk about note-taking in general. It is the most relied upon method for students when it comes to learning. Note-taking is typically an individual task, so it requires no interaction among students. There is also no requirement of critical thinking skills, as students write down what they feel is important during class, with the goal being to pass a test or pass the class. This does, however, require a little bit more focus on active listening, as they have to listen to what the professor is stating. In this particular research, note-taking is defined as the condensation of material and/or copy regurgitation. As stated previously, note-taking is the most relied upon method by students for learning, but there are several problems with the traditional note-taking methods. Through research, it has been found that students are not efficient in note-taking, with only 20% of the information being captured. With the information gathered, the students are not able to organize it correctly, therefore having a disconnection between the information. With technology trending, the students turn from pen and paper to typing their notes during class, but the same problems still exist. They actually add a couple of problems with the information retention being lower because the students are trying to be stenographers rather than engaging and listening to what the lecture is about. So the reasoning for research is because of the numerous problems of note-taking. The need to improve note-taking through information related to selecting what information needs to be recorded, coding the information correctly, and organizing it. It also is being researched because they want to increase the retention of information through the classrooms. With the increase of technology in the web, there are new ways to share this information. And to increase learning, the study looks at one of these ways in reference to note-taking called collaborative note-taking. This is defined as mechanisms by which students summarize lectures and/or other materials jointly and simultaneously. Previous studies on such programs to allow collaboration among students have proved to be obscure, expensive, and not very user-friendly. As a result to these issues found in the research, we turn to Google Drive for collaboration studies. Google Drive is direct, free, and user-friendly, and adds items to that other programs do not, including interaction with inside the program, automatic and simultaneously save options, and it also informs all the other users of the changes made. Google Drive is a hard drive in the cloud. The cloud is an alternative way to process and store data. Instead of the information being on one isolated computer or device, the cloud runs a software to a remote server that can be accessed from any device at any time. The cloud can also has the capability for many users to sign on at one time and can actually work on the same document at the same time. The purpose of this study is to compare student experiences and student classroom outcomes. The goal to bring small groups into the classroom and improve learning through collaborative note-taking using non-specialized software, such as the Google Drive. The participants were all enrolled in a state college in an introductory level class. They all volunteered to participate in this study. Students were placed in groups of 3 or 4, and a professor or student aide was assigned to their group for facilitating purposes. A PowerPoint overview was given on the collaborative note-taking prior to these classes starting. The methods for evaluation include quantitative controlled study focuses on a survey tool and student grade data. A standardized open-ended question interview was also given. So the participation in this study, there were 10 introductory level classes with a total of 247 students. 51 of these were placed in experimental groups by volunteering, and the remaining 196 were placed in the control group. A second control group was added of the 32 students to account for any potential biases in the study. The majority of the participants were female, and all students were at the freshman or sophomore level. The results showed that the experimental groups that were participating in collaborative note-taking, their grades were higher than those of the control group at the end of the class by as much as a letter grade. A pre-test and post-test were also given to all those groups, and while the grades on the pre-test were lower on the experimental group, those using the collaborative note-taking, the post-test showed consistency with the overall grades of a letter grade higher of those using collaborative note-taking versus those using regular note-taking. Here are the graphs showing those results. These were taken directly from the article. For the student outcomes, the questions were given on a Likert scale. The first one was, I enjoy using collaborative note-taking. 71% of the students surveyed agreed or strongly agreed with this statement. The second one was, I am likely to use collaborative notes in future classes. 81% agreed or strongly agreed. The third one was, I would use collaborative notes in this class if I was to do it over. 89% agreed or strongly agreed on this question. On the interview portion, there was completed at the end of the semester. The questions were randomly ordered with open-ended questions through an online survey. All 51 participants in the experiment were given this survey, with 38 of them providing responses. Sorry about that. Question 3. Do you believe or notice that collaborative notes improve your grades in this class? There were only 2 responses given for this, but both agreed that collaborative note-taking did help to pass this class. Question number 4. Would you use collaborative notes again in another class? There was an overwhelmingly response of yes to this question in this section. So my thoughts on this survey, I was kind of surprised. I would think that collaborative note-taking during class would cause more confusion, but I would like to see some more studies done on it. Maybe where the class participation isn't voluntarily, the whole class has to participate in this and see what the outcome may be. I think that maybe the expectation of it being a positive experience may cause the students to think of it in a different way, so the outcomes may vary. Nowhere did the research give any feedback from the faculty or the student aide that participated in this. I would like to see what their perception of the impact of collaborative note-taking was. Did they actually see more participation in the classroom? Did they find it to be more distracting than useful? Just all around, what was their overall view of it? I also think it would be great to do a study where devices have already been implemented, such as Northeast State. They implemented the iPads, so most students have access to an iPad. It's part of their incoming freshmen. They have all their books and everything on there, so I think that if they had access to that, it would no longer be a concern whether or not they had access to it. So the outcome may vary on that as well. And finally, I'd like to see how this would impact high school students. High school students are typically more technical savvy nowadays, as well as their social media interaction. I think it may be shown in a high school level that collaborative note-taking is even more effective than on the college level. In conclusion, this study did show that performance in note-taking collaboratively can be an effective way of note-taking. It also showed that learning and working with others by watching others take notes show an increase in their learning and retention of information. It also showed that there was a more cognitive energy given on the class material, which helped retain the information as well. And here is the reference. There will also be a link to the full PDF in the discussion board, and I thank you very much.